Good Monday morning, my peeps. It's Yo Adrienne podcast, and we're here to talk about what? The whys in the house. That's what we're going to talk about. You're probably like, what? Why? How? Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay. So, picking up from last week's episode, right? We talked about making a choice to prioritize your business, no matter how busy life gets, right? Because we always have that choice. We're always allowed to sit back and wait or to just jump right in and go and do and really work your business, right? And we talked about that analogy in the book. I mean, it was so amazing. And so I really want to get a little bit further in because I had people kind of asking some questions like, yeah, I want to work my business like this, but right? The excuses. And so today I want to take it a little bit further and focus on the power of your thoughts. And every thought you have about your business is a choice. So that's great, right? We know that. We talked about that. But how are you approaching your problems and your doubts and your frustrations? Right? What is the best way to ask yourself the questions to lead you to better solutions? Okay. And so I really want you guys to understand that curiosity is a big part of life. I mean, when you really care about something, when you care about someone, when you're really interested in something, you start asking questions, right? Watch people around you. You can tell all of a sudden they're engaged and they're like, wait a minute, what about this? What about that? So I want you to be curious about your business, right? Because in order to figure out the obstacles that are standing in your way, you're going to need to ask yourself some questions. And so I have found that the whys and the hows are how we do that. So you can't just stop with the problem, right? You're going to have to keep digging to find the solution. So many people say tons of things, right? I can't book parties. I don't have clients, blah, blah, blah. Like, right? They have all these things they say. So I'm going to show you one. Like, I struggle to book parties and home parties. Why? Because nobody wants to have a party. Why? Because they don't want to clean their house. Why? Because they're too busy. Okay, right there, you guys, because you asked yourself the why, instead of just being like, I'm not booking in home parties and I'm upset, so forget it, right? You said why? Well, because people don't want to have a party. Okay, but why don't people want to have a party? Oh, because they don't want to clean their house. Okay, why don't they want to clean their house? Because they're busy. So, right there, you've identified issues. Okay, so what's next? Do we just sit there and go, yep, people are busy. They don't want to clean their house. They don't want to have a party. See, I told you nobody wants to have a party, right? No. Okay. How do we solve it? Right. So, how can I help someone who is busy but wants to have a party? How can we host without worrying about the cleaning? So, all of a sudden, you're asking yourself these how questions like, how can I do this? And the answer is simple as maybe we could find a different venue instead of their house, move to a cafe, a park, whatever, right? Or what about hosting a virtual event, right? What about getting them a personal shopping link so they can just talk with their friends when they're at work or whatever? There's so many solutions, but it's whether you want to stop at the issues you identified or you want to ask yourself how. Because you guys, it is so easy to stop. Every obstacle has a solution if you keep asking the right questions. But so many times we just stop. We just say, I see the obstacle, so I'm done. And that's the problem, guys, is we can't just, I mean, if you really want your business, right? If it, like in the last podcast, you want it so bad, you want your business, then you're going to have to overcome obstacles. Nobody has a business that has no obstacles, guys. I promise you, there's never been a person who's like, oh, yeah, ever since the day I started my business, it's been easy peasy. That just doesn't happen. And so I want you to really get curious and ask yourself the questions. It's kind of like my tip of the week last week, right? What can I do? How can I do something to move my business forward? You got to ask yourself the right questions. And you guys, this doesn't just apply to work, right? It can apply to anything in life, right? So, like, what if you're feeling exhausted all the time, right? So you ask yourself, why am I tired? Because I'm always busy. Well, why am I busy? Because I commit to too many things. But well, why do I commit so much? Because I can't say no. Okay. So again, you have all these things, you're busy and you're tired and you're committing too much and you can't say no. So how do I fix it? So how can I learn to say no? Well, that's a great question. How could I say no more? Oh, maybe I could prioritize my life. So I'm less busy, right? Like learned to say no. I have to learn to say no. Well, how would I know what to say no to? I'm going to make a priority list. Well, how can I make a priority list? Well, I write down everything that um I have to do, and then I find which ones I want to do the most. And then, okay, so now that I've done this, like, how do I implement that? Okay, well, maybe I make a timesheet and say, I'm going to do this and this from here to here to here to here, and then I'm done. So now I figured out a way by asking myself how. I figured out I have to say no. And in order to say no, I have to know my priorities. And once I get my priorities straight, I need to make sure I have enough time for them. So now that I figured all that out, right? Like I found the time, I put my priorities on the list and I've worked it out. I am going to be less tired and busy, right? I'll be less busy, so I'll be less tired. So, you guys, this is what it's all about. It's always about asking a question and focusing on the things that you're struggling with by finding a plan that will help you. All those reasons, all those obstacles, what can you do to change it instead of just stopping, right? And I just really think getting curious with yourself about your business, the power of the whys in the hows will shift your mindset. You're going to start doing it with everything. I used to not do that. I used to hit an obstacle and just be like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? I don't even know what we're going to do. I don't know. I'm done. Right. But once I started doing this, I started applying it to any problem that I was facing in business or life. And so then as I started doing that, more and more things became so much easier for me because instead of just stopping or instead of getting upset or angry or exhausted or whatever, I had something I could move forward with and say, okay, instead of feeling like I can't book parties, I am going to try to do XYZ. I'm going to come up with a new party style that's out and about. So it's going to get people excited again, and this is going to happen, right? And if that doesn't work, then okay, well, maybe I'll give them a personal shopping link and give them a fun video to send out to everybody. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, let's try online parties. There's always other options, but you've really got to try some things and you've really got to think about the whys in the house so you can start implementing the house. And so I would love for you guys to pop on social media to share on this podcast post what problem you're working on, how you're going to use the whys in the hows to find a solution. Because I love keeping the conversation going. You guys know that. I want to know how we can help each other. That's what this is all about. We can help each other shift our mindsets. So you guys, until next week, when Yo Adrienne talks, realize the power is within you.